Welcome to you, all of you astrology friends. Welcome to this video about the new moon in Gemini that is going to occur around in about the 6th of June. So we're going to have the moon and the sun together at 16 degrees of Gemini. Excuse me. What does it mean in general? What's the flavor? What's the energy? And then very quickly to the 12 signs. In what area of life are we going to feel this energy the most? And how can we get the most out of this energy? Because it's an interesting energy. Of course, around this time of the year, we always have a new moon in Gemini. So when we have that new moon, it means a new start. It means an ending and a new team. And a new planting of the seed in that specific area of our life that we're in our horoscope where we have Gemini. And of course, Gemini, very, simply explained, it's all about communication. It's all about short trips, learning, speaking, teaching, gathering information, communicating on a light level, because it's an air sign after all, Gemini. So it's not like seeing the bigger picture. It's like, oh, the journalist kind of, how a journalist gathers information. A bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that, and they all knit it together, and that has value rather than going to the bigger picture. So it's about facts and figures. And it's about curiosity, it's about wittiness, it's about fun as well. It's a very light energy. It's the energy also of social contacts like siblings, neighbors, people that we get in touch with on a daily basis, going to the groceries and all of that area of your life that is your neighborhood, so to speak. So that energy is going to be highlighted. We are invited here for a new way of communicating, for a new way of understanding things and of seeing things and how to process things, that as well. So what is going on elsewhere, right? Because we have that sun and the moon there in Gemini. Its ruler, which is Mercury, is also in Gemini. So Mercury in Gemini is at its best, you could say. It knows what it has to do there. And having the ruler in that same area is a positive thing. Now, it's a bit of a traffic jam, actually, because when we are going to have that new moon, we're going to have like a full traffic jam, you could say, in the sign of Gemini. To start with Mercury, as I said, at 6 degrees. Then, of course, the sun and the moon at 16 degrees of Gemini. But then also Venus, a bit later on, in the sign of Gemini as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 planets in Gemini. That's a lot, isn't it? And there's the good and the bad and the ugly of Gemini. The good thing of having such a massive amount of energy in that sign of Gemini, is that we are invited to be curious, to be open for new information, to want to know things. And especially with Venus there and Mercury there, we want to see the beauty of that information and the positivity of that information. It's also that we have an interest in a bit of everything. That curiosity gives that lust for life as well. When we're not curious, when we can feel a bit depressed, don't we? If we're not interested in the simple things of life, in little things of life. Oh, that's a beautiful thing over there. Oh, I understand how that works. And I know a little bit of this and I know a little bit of that. It's like, you could say, I'll give you an analogy. You could be an astrologer like me, but in order for people to guide them a little bit better outside just saying, look, that's the astrology, that's the energy, I'm very much interested in therapies and in how they work and in certain things to explore. Like, for instance, I will always, when I see a person with a certain problem, I will always try to recommend them a book or recommend them a certain video of a YouTuber who is a specialist in something, and so on and so on. So I know a bit of everything, you could say, but not really to be to go into the depths and know everything. But that is a good thing, because you know exactly what kind of information what person needs, and it's the bit that same energy that we're having. So there's also a lot of wittiness and comedy. I associate that with Gemini, and especially with that Mercury there in that position. So because it brings our lives into a lighter space, we don't take it so seriously, because when it all comes in so seriously, we get down. And Gemini is a sign that really goes very fast and is very mutable. It goes here and there and so on, and it moves, and by movement things flow better. Talking about flow. So that is in a good way, the Gemini energy. In a not so good way, the Gemini energy is that it is a bit two faces. It says yes, but it means no. Or this week it wants to go this way, the other week it wants to go the other way. And it can be a little bit of, because it's a little bit of everything, it doesn't take any course. It doesn't take any road that is fixed. So it's like the lover that says today, I love you, and tomorrow I hate you. But in the moment, it's real. You see that paradox is happening a lot with Geminis. And that's why the pitfall of Gemini is really that they say like deception or honesty, or, you know, it seems like, I don't think now, oh, I'm a Gemini, I'm this deceptive, or I'm not honest. No, it's that energy that can go in a positive way, and every sign has a positive way and a negative way. So we just have to be careful of Gemini. That another downside of it is the monkey mind. So because Gemini is always, you know, it's interested, you know, Gemini eyes, for instance, for people who've got a Gemini rising, they have those eyes that are so interested in everything. And, you know, it's it's going so fast, that Mercury is working so fast. And because of that, it cannot stop. It's a bit the ADHD, or how do they say that? In the zodiac, in a pitfall way. So it's often not easy to calm the nerves, so to speak, when you have that Gemini energy is so bubbly. And sometimes when you have to go to sleep, for instance, that bubbliness is not the best. You see what I mean? So to calm the mind, it's going to be not the easiest thing with all of that Gemini energy. And especially these days with all this social media, and we're watching our phones and at night, or we're watching too much television and computers and whatnot. The mind is not at peace. The nervous system is not at peace. So keep that in mind during that particular time, that we could be a little bit more chaotic and a little bit more all over the place. That's what they say about the pitfall of Gemini. They're a bit all over the place. But now we are warned now, and especially, a huge thing about this new moon is that it squares up to Saturn. I know. A lot of people would think, no, then you've got all these beautiful planets in Gemini. And I haven't even talking about Jupiter as well. Of course, Jupiter is also already in Gemini, just at the very beginning of it. So that's even more big. What I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4 planets in Gemini. It's 5 planets in Gemini. So we have that overdose, so to speak, of that energy. And so we have to be careful of the pitfall. Okay. Now the thing is, It's already in the astrology of that moment, of that day, that we are going to be restricted a little bit and calm down a little bit. Why? You know the song, Calm Down, Calm Down? I love that song. Anyway, why? Because of the square to Saturn. So all those planets in Gemini, they will have to meet Saturn at some point. And Saturn is at that time on the 6th of June at 18 degrees of Pisces. So that Venus already went squaring Saturn. And now the sun and the moon at 16 degrees, a day after that, you know, a day or 2 days after, it will hit that Saturn in a square. And then Mercury will follow it. It will also hit that Saturn in a square. Jupiter not, because Jupiter is a bit slower. But so what does it mean? It means that all of this exciting, vibrant energy is like, you know, oh, you have to stop here. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's a bit like that scattered energy. I want to do 3 things at a time. And Saturn is saying, no, pick out one. That it's nothing more and nothing less. That is what is happening during that day. So you could be having a brilliant idea, brilliant way of communicating, and you're fired up and whatnot, and then Saturn comes in. So I'm going to look at when I go to the individual signs, I'm going to have a look where Saturn is as well, because that is going to be, so to speak, the blockage. But of course, we know as human beings that 99% if we have blockages in our lives, it is from within. It is unconscious that we kind of block ourselves. And it demands a lot of consciousness to see that. And a lot of people will not agree, and that's fine. But in a square, it shows that our circumstances, where Saturn is in our chart, is going to block us. Now you could say, come on. And especially when you have all these planets in Gemini in your natal chart, and then Saturn comes along. It all blocks it off. And it's all not possible. No, this is not true. What is true is that the universe, you could say, if you believe in astrology, if you believe that it is a divine language, that it is an energy. So this energy shows, or the universe is telling us, look, you can have great ideas and new ways of thinking and communicating and connections and whatnot. But hey, stay cool and don't rush things. That's basically it. That's what the universe is. That's how it's talking to us. It's just saying, hold your horses. Don't take a shortcut. Stay cool, you know, not having 6 plans, but 2 plans. And less is more. Less is more. Yes, these energies are contradictory, but we have that often in life, don't we? And it's divine timing and it's the divine energy. So in a bigger plan, because the opposite sign of Gemini is Sagittarius, which is what we need at the moment, you could say, because the perspective of Sagittarius is going to show more the overall view. And the overall Sagittarian view could say, like, you might find it a bit of a struggle when you have that slowing down or blockage or whatever it is that you can't manage now or that you can't manifest now, but it has a reason because of divine timing, because for everyone concerned, it is the best. Now, if you have that Sagittarian, because we all have Sagittarian in our chart, if you have that energy of understanding, it becomes way more positive and it becomes way more of acceptance, and the energies kind of calm down and we understand better on a level that not here understanding, but in the heart we understand that it's for a reason and that we trust the process. It's like you could say the line that a Sagittarian will love to say is trust the process, right? Because believing that how it is, even if we don't like it, it's the best. So what an energy this is. What an energy. And Mars at the same time is about to square Pluto. So there's a lot about energy, you could say, of I want to go forwards. Yes, but hey, there's some blockages. Respect the blockages. Respect the Saturn. Respect the responsibilities. For instance, it could mean, let's say you have this in your 4th house of home and you want to buy a new house. You know, and it could mean that you feel that blockage because you've never done that before, for instance, or because of old wounds come up. You know, it's that kind of energy. But it has a reason. And it certainly has an understanding as well. So it's a serious new beginning. It's not a new beginning where you're going to take risks and where you're going to do crazy stuff. No, it's a new beginning for sure on a communicative Gemini kind of level. But it is slow. It's with obstacles and responsibilities. And the obstacles are there for our best interest of ourselves and others involved. If you see it like that, you can deal with it way better than thinking like, oh, the universe doesn't have your best interest. It is what it is. And Saturn is about hard work. You know, Venus squaring Saturn, Sun squaring Saturn, Moon squaring Saturn. It's all about do the work. Do what you've got to do. Do what you've got to do and what is, you could say, in a very responsible, directive way and disciplined way. Use the discipline as well. So very vibrant energy, but at the same time, really like, you know, it makes me think, in a positive way, it makes me think of the Chariot, you know, the card in the tarot. It's like you're going places, but you need to have in control the good and the bad and the ugly. That's a bit how I'm seeing it. But you're going places. So don't think with the restrictions that you're having, don't think that that is for a bad, that is, you know, against you. No, it's try to learn from it. See it as your learning school. And don't run away from it. You know, that's the best advice that I can give. Okay, let's quickly have a look at where is this happening and where is this blockage happening so that we know what's going on there. For Aries, this is the 3rd house. So this is a lot about your social connections of the neighborhoods and the siblings and the way you communicate, the way you get information, or you want to learn something new. You want to have a new, the 3rd house, if you have a business of your own, I also see that as a PR house. So you want to do the PR, you want to do all of that, but Saturn in the 12th house, which is your unconscious, there's an unconscious blockage. And it's to, you could say almost in this respect, it's to protect you. So find out and dig deep towards the understanding of that Saturn in your 12th house, which is all about understanding your deep patterns. And Saturn in the 12th is almost like, they say Saturn in the 12th is in its joy. You know, in ancient astrology, that means that it makes structure there. So unconsciously, you're having some blockages so that you can't flourish in doing that new website, for instance, so that you can't flourish with connections, so that you can't flourish with learning something new, or it's all so, you know, it's all slowed down, or things are not going as you wish. The blockages are your blind spots. Now, a good thing to see that is, first of all, to accept it because it's the best as it is. And secondly, to do some dream work or some regression therapy or some old patterns, family constellation stuff, doing that to understand where these blockages are coming from. But don't think that you're not achieving anything. On the contrary, you can start that new project. You can start that new short trip. You can start that new website or whatnot, or vlog or writing or teaching or learning. But there's some stuff behind the scenes that is holding you back. Taurians, this whole massive energy is in your 2nd house. And your second house is your house because it's the Taurus house. And the second house is all about first of all, your finances, and secondly, your worth, the value that you have, the things that you own, right? That you kind of, the confidence that you have. And there is some new beginning. So there's a new start there, whether it is a new financial structure that you're about to do, or an ending of an old structure that you think is not good, and you're trying to establish a new one. And on another level, there is new possibility for you having and growing more confidence. But what is blocking you is Saturn in the 11th house, which is your goals for the future. So there could be a goal for the future that is not realistic, for instance, or that you have to do in compartments, right? So you can't do it all at once. So look at that. On another level, it's also the people that you surround yourself with, which is called the like-minded people, the friends people. They could also do some blockage towards your self-worth. You know, you have a feeling that because maybe a friend has something what you have got, and because of that you feel like less, right? So of course this has nothing to do with the friend. This has to do with you. It has to do with you, how to grow there and how to see that as an inspiration and how to learn from that, so that you can establish as well what you feel that you are lacking. So it's really seeing a little bit deeper than that, what is going on. But on a positive level, it is like the friends are your teachers, so to speak, almost. They kind of teach you things like confidence and self-worth, and also on the level of money. Okay? Geminis. I'm thinking of Doja Cat, that song, but I can't remember how. I think it's Juicy, and she refers to Geminis. But anyway, it's in a light way. But the whole introduction is for you. The whole introduction is for you, and there's definitely a new beginning for you. It's your new moon. So for a lot of you, happy birthday. And new beginnings for sure for you. New paths when it comes to yourself, your development, your relationships, your work, your home. All these areas of life are activated. Now, the biggest, you could say, Saturnial influence, or I don't like to say influence, but Saturnial energy is in your 10th house of work. Now, for those Geminis who are not working, this is like how other people see you, or your parents, so that might be still a little bit of a blockage that you feel, that they are a bit critical towards you, and that you want to show who you are, but there's still that criticism there. So it could be that you're feeling that a parent or the society is seeing you as not good enough, right? Again, don't see it as something negative. See it as something that you are going to own, and that you are come more towards yourself almost, and exploring more. Who do you want to be? And reinventing yourself. So don't see it as a blockage, but see it as, a teacher of some sort. On another level, this could mean that your work is blocking you because maybe there's too much work, there's a ton of work, there's too much responsibilities, and that's blocking you to be who you want to be. Now, if that is the case, this is about not running away from your responsibility. A typical thing that people do is like go to another company, and they think, yeah, that it's better there. I don't have a lot on my shoulders. And they kind of, after a month or two, they're in the same pattern. So it's also about taking responsibility at your job, yes, but not taking what is not yours. So delegating if you can. Cancerians, this is happening in a very you could say, hidden part of your chart. The 12th house is a very unconscious house. It's a house where sometimes it's hidden from yourself, what's happening there. So it's about old patterns, and a lot of energy in the 12th house often shows an opportunity to see your blind spots, to see the patterns that unconsciously are driving you. And so it's a good time to delve into that. And that happens a lot during the night when you're dreaming, for instance. Dreams can give you a lot of explanations of your true feelings, your true emotions. And when you're analyzing your dream, it's not about what's happening in the dream. It's about how you feel whilst you are in that dream. Do you feel sad? Do you feel happy? Do you feel whatever? And that is important because that feeling wants to come out and wants to be seen, right? So the blockage is in your 9th house. So it's actually your the critical speaker in your head that is dimming you in a way, right? It's like our higher self, our morals, this 9th house. You can't feel that. You can't feel because this or that. Maybe you're dreaming about, being angry, and maybe in your family being angry is you can't show that. Or maybe you're dreaming about you being very aroused and sexual and doing all that kind of stuff, and maybe your morals are saying you can't do this. Or maybe you are very, very sad, and maybe your environment is saying to you, you can't be sad. You have to be always optimistic because we depend on you. Whatever the emotion is, it's important to acknowledge it in the first place. And that Saturn, the way that it's dimming it, it's in a way to not be overwhelmed. So kind of dissected in a very slow way, in slowly but surely. Also, it's a great time for spirituality. It's a great time for astrology. It's a great time for understanding the self more on a deeper level, and all those old patterns. It's a great time to, for instance, do some, if you want to do that, of course, do some therapies where they kind of break through that energy that is unconscious for you, so that they break it through, but still that your morals are in check. It's a very emotional time for you because it's the emotional houses that are highlighted here. So your emotions will be dimmed. Don't be afraid of that. Your emotions are going to be put in a check, I would say. But there's an opportunity to every now and then kind of let it be, that emotion. So every now and then there's a bit of a release there, but it's a slow release. So it's not that you're suppressing everything, and no, but there's like a very small release every now and then. It's symbolic what I'm saying here, but that's how I see it. It's like a very, very close, it's like a balloon and a very close opening that is happening for you when it comes to your emotions. Leos, this is happening in your 11th house. So you could say a massive social time for you, but at the same time, you can feel a little bit alone. It's the typical, because Saturn is in your 8th house, which is the house of intimacy and the house of I see you in all ways, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, but when it comes to friendships, when it comes to like-minded people, it might be they're there. And there could be even new developments and endings and new beginnings in friendships. And there's the willingness to be open, and there's the willingness to go backwards and forwards and talk about your dreams and talk about your goals for the future. But at the same time, you feel that kind of emotional blockage because Saturn is in the 8th house. Again, this has to be like that. And you can have a look at what this means. What are you blocking? There's some sort of a distrust here. Whether it is you towards your friends or whether it's your friends towards you. It can go both ways. But there is some distrust. And where is it coming from? And have a look at if it's real or not. And if there are facts and figures that can kind of prove that. But whatever it is, there are new friends coming in. There are new goals coming in. But at the same time, the cautiousness is in a good way. Also financial, it can mean that you have a plan, you have a goal, you have a new goal for your work, for instance, and there's new plans coming in, but there is like the bank says no, for instance, or the business partner says, no, I'm not in. You know, that kind of feeling. Don't feel that, you have nothing. It's just a process of 2 steps forwards and 1 step back. Virgo is a very important time here. There is like this massive growth and this massive emphasis on your 10th house, which is if you work, it's your work. So there is like this new beginnings and there's new excitements going on and you have new ideas and there's a lot of energy and you're loving what you're doing with that Venus there, but Saturn bumps into it, which is in your 7th house. It could be literally like your relationship is not liking what you're doing there in the career, or your relationship is asking lots more responsibilities, or that partner is being critical towards you. On another level, it can mean that, yes, you see massive growth and you have that business partner over there that is so serious, and it's every time you have a new idea, they say, nah. So instead of seeing it as they are always, slowing me down, have a look at why this slowdown might benefit you even. And proceed, of course. It's 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. It doesn't mean to say that you're not going to have any growth. Not at all. It means that the growth for you is at its best when it's taken with little steps and with a certain discipline when it comes to connections. And also with being careful in who you pick out a connection, especially if you go in work, if you're going to connect with someone. Pick someone who's responsible, who is maybe very good in their field, who knows what they're talking about. So that is the positive side of this square. If you're not working, it means that you feel you've got like so much to give more to society, whether that is your energy that you're putting out there and that serves the society. But again, there's that blockage of you in a relationship, or if you're not having a relationship, you feel that you're fearful of one, and at the same time you're craving one. Right? So it is about healing that, for sure, that you are enough as you are already, and that slowly but surely is the best way for you. Librans, this is happening in your 9th house, which is nice because this trines all your air energy. So a Libra is an air sign. Gemini is also air. So you could be having new plans for travel. You could be having new plans to study. You could be having new plans to learn and to teach and to go to cultural places and to really broaden your horizon, and also an interest in astrology or other metaphysical stuff. And you can really want to do that. But the blockage is Saturn in the 6th house. Simple, it can mean that your work is not providing you enough time to do all these things, for instance. Or your health is not providing you to do all these things. Or but for a lot of people, it's their day-to-day life. There's a lot of responsibilities there. So that you can't do it all. Now here the bottom line is also to not get frustrated that you can't travel, or you can't do that beautiful travel that you're planning or thinking about, or you can't do that workshop of 6 months because it's demanding a lot of time. It's like You understanding that it might not be convenient now, but you can work in little steps towards it because it's planting of a seed. Scorpios, the 8th house. So all of that is your house, by the way. So all of this energy, all of this death and new rebirth energy is happening in this 8th hidden house. So there's a lot about new opportunity of transformation. And transformation only happens when you can let go. When you have that trust of letting go and that trust that all will be well, then the transformation happens. So there's a lot of that energy. Whether it is literally about life and death issues, or whether it is about resources that you are getting from other people, like their emotional support, their financial support, the investments that you're doing, all of that, there's new growth happening. An interest in the occult, for instance, could be, or in the metaphysical side of life, there could be really, really new insights here. What blocks you is your heart. Saturn is in your 5th house. So it's almost as you're feeling responsible that you cannot be always that open, because if you're going to be that open, it kind of conflicts with that new beginning and with that breakthrough. So, but you have to respect Saturn in the 5th. So you have to respect that less is more, maybe not 2 or 3 hobbies, but 1 hobby, and that you are putting it a little bit slower than you would love to do that. Because that energy in the 8th house will present itself, will show itself for sure. It's also intimacy and sexuality. There could be a blockage there now, or you feel it as a blockage. Saturn in the 5th house. You want to, but it's not possible because there are fears involved, because there is that trust. There is no trust at the beginning, and you can't force yourself. You can't say to yourself, yeah, trust. That's not how it works. That is by doing all these deep stuff. So go within, do some inner work, whatever that means for you. Go to a family constellation, go to maybe breath work or whatnot, to release emotions that you didn't even know that you had. You know, Scorpios have that quite often. They don't like to do that. But if you're doing that in a bit of a controlled way, and if you feel good about that, this is going to help you. Sagittarians, very important. This is all relationship matter for you, because all of this massive 5 planets in the 7th house is definitely someone there catching your eye. Whether you are in a relationship or not, another person or other people are very important for you now. There could be clients, business partners, and your romantic partner. And certainly if you are in a relationship or not in a relationship, there could be someone appearing that is a bit of a mentor for you, that is helping you in a way. But a lot of people are going to trying to get your attention there. And that's good, because especially your ruler is in that 7th house as well, which means that you're finding purpose in connecting with other people. Now, what holds you back is Saturn in the 4th house. It's your emotions. It's how you feel safe. So this lesson here is in to feel safe within you, and literally also the home. It could mean that you want to go and explore others, but you're having problems at home, literally. There could be some things that you have to restore. There could be some, things that you have to put your mind on, right? Maybe there's something happening with the leakages, or there's something happening with the structure, Saturn, the structure in your home that might not be well, and you have to address that. And that is a bit of a slowing down of all those connections that you want to do. But the thing is, it's like a time-sharing thing, and it is growing your connections with others. And on a level of more that emotional well-being, that feeling safe, there can be some triggers of, Saturn in the 4th, of old patterns that come up. and that you are triggered by because of these people in your life. They can trigger you. And that is a chemical thing, of course, and they trigger you for a reason, namely to heal you. That's basically it. And Saturn in the fourth is actually a very healing energy if you do it the right way, namely if you are aware of that is happening there for a reason, and it's not to annoy you or not to get you back into the old traumas and whatnot. No, it's to feel them in the moment and to release them. So you're going to get a lot of help from others at the same time. But there's a lot of stuff still that is stiff in your emotional body. And to deal with that, you will do that in pieces. And if you're going to do that, you are really going to have those connections that are very purposeful. So it's about dealing again with your stuff on a very deep level, with the parental stuff, you know, going back to that first relationship, so to speak, and to restore that in a way, which is Saturn, you know, dealing with it in a mature way. So very interesting and very healing energy as well. Capricorns, all of this is happening in your sixth house. There could be a new opportunity that of work, a new job. There could be a new way of exercising or doing something for your, for your health, new ideas. It's quite busy, a very busy day-to-day life. So the busyness of your life can go up. Now, what holds you back is Saturn in the third. It might be your mind. So what is holding back this busyness? You kind of want it. Yeah, it's all there, and there's new stuff going on, and the purpose that you feel, and in your day-to-day routines, and the lifestyle that you want to adjust, and newness in your lifestyle. But it's your mind that is holding you back. So where does that come from? That Saturn in the third house, that you could say blocks all the juiciness in that sixth house. So it's time to investigate that, and also to use that in your advantage, that maybe you need to slow down a little bit with all your plans for the new job and whatnot, that you can do that, but slowly but surely. And it's nothing more and nothing less than that. On another level, it could mean that stuff with your siblings, stuff with your neighbors is cooling you down a little bit and needs to be explored a little bit more. Or you feel them as being restrictive towards you. And that kind of blocks you into all your plans that you're having with your health and with improving it and with your work. So it's a lot about investigating that and seeing as the mind, strengthening the mind rather than going down and having depressive thoughts. Aquarians, you are a fellow air sign. So for you, this is amazing with all this Gemini energy in your fifth house. So a lot of Geminis, a lot of Aquarians are going to feel a lot more joyful, and they feel that more bubbly and more, the heart chakra opens up. There's more joy. There's more a flow of life as well, because when we are opening up our hearts, we can enjoy life more. And there's definitely a new beginning there. For some of you, even a new romance with that new moon there, and or a new hobby, or your child is going through a phase that it grows a lot, and it's like this new stage, or your relationship with a child. There's like an expansiveness going on there, but Saturn in the second house. So there is a restriction of Saturn. And that could mean that you feel that you're not good enough, or a lot of money is going towards that fifth house, which you have to slow down, right? So you could be, doing too much of hobbies or too much of pleasure and leisure, and that not only your money goes down because of that, but also your confidence, and how you feel about yourself, your values, It's the critic there that is saying, in that little voice in your head, is that who you want to be? Is that where you want to be? So actually, I think in a good way, and especially if you're, you know, doing, if you know of yourself that you're doing too much and you're partying too much, this Saturn in the second is actually good because it keeps you in check. Now, if you're a little bit older, and if you're saying, well, not necessarily older, but if you know already that you can't party all day, but it might more mean that you feel that you're not worthy. You feel that you're not worthy of having all those nice hobbies and nice love and so on. And then you have to dig a little bit deeper. Where does that come from? And explore. And why is that so? Is it because you're not good enough because of ABC? And what can you do about ABC? Is it realistic to do something about it? And when you look in the mirror and you're going to do something about it, that can be the discipline. And so on and so on. So very interesting for the Aquarians for sure. Pisceans, this is in your 4th house. This is also very important for you, especially if you have planets around 16 degrees of Pisces. This energy in your 4th house, it's like a massive new beginning when it comes to literally a new home, literally. And you're seeing it, and there's joy, and there's new beginnings, and so on. But what is blocking you is you, Saturn in your 1st house. It's like almost you are saying, I'm not worth it, you know? Or is it for me? I'm scared of even having that beautiful house. Or I'm scared of, if I would feel good. That might sound a bit weird, but it's what's going on behind the scenes. And it's not going to happen for all of you, of course. But what it is here is that you are setting boundaries. And that's something that is very important for you at this particular time of your life. And because of that, you can make that work. You can have that dream house and you can have that. But it's about take it slow. It's going to come, but it's going to cost you some time. And it's going to cost you some work and discipline towards the self in a healthy way. For others, it has nothing to do with their home. It has to do with their emotions, the way that you feel safe in yourself. There's a massive new beginning there that you can start, like a new way of how you feel safe within you. And that is a tremendous feeling. But again, you feel blocked. There is a Saturn in the 1st house of like really not knowing what you're doing. It's like you have all these plans and you have these good feelings, but you're kind of blocking yourself. And it's just because you're not used to it. So it's again with 2 steps forwards and 1 step back, and 2 steps forwards and 1 step back. So don't think that this is not going to happen, this emotional feeling of feeling safe. No, it's there for sure. But it's going to come slowly. Slowly but surely is always better than quick and then it vanishing and you're losing it again. So this is very, very much going to stay and be long lasting, but doing it step by step. Anyway, having said that, thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.